Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Show, where we take a look at how you approach your work and personal life and how we can make the most out of both of them. A weekly get-together where we get real about self-improvement and development as we all make this not-so-easy journey through life. Our discussions will cover ideas and concepts from how to grow your career to how to lead your family towards prosperity and happiness. We don't pretend to know it all, and the doctor is the first to be vulnerable, discussing his own weaknesses, both past and present. This is about growing together and having some fun while we discuss what is happening in the crazy world we live in and how to make the most of it. Let's strive for awesome together. Let's get after it. Good day, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. Leadership Podcast. Hope you're having an awesome day. It is a rainy Sunday. It's been a rough weekend. First, shout out to all those that are facing some disarray and hardship following the bad storms all across the Midwest. Unfortunately, a few deaths, but fortunately, very, very few, and mostly just property damage. But never an easy thing. So thoughts and prayers going out to all of you. Besides that, I hope that you're having an awesome weekend and getting reared up for another Monday morning tomorrow. I always record these on Sundays, as you all know. Hope that you enjoyed last week's episode around motivation and some of the steps you can take to get yourself back out of the funk. There's a lot of funk in the world today. There's a lot of crappy stuff going on in the news, and it is very, very important for us all to control that 6 inches between our ears to ensure that we're driving towards our success and towards our goals, etc. So, first of all, thanks for always listening. Check us out on the website, www.drleadershipresults.com. You can email ideas, content, feedback. Hey, you are awful. Hey, you are awesome. Whatever you feel like saying, you can hit us up at our email, and that is at drleadershipresults@gmail.com. We just appreciate you listening. Continue to grow on the downloads. Continue to grow on the membership site. I appreciate that very, very much. Remember, you get early access at these things, at least 5-6 days in advance typically. And also you get access early to our leadership lounge. Got some great interviews coming up on that I'm working on right now. Be adding a couple more of those up in the next 30 days as well. So back to business here. As I said, last week we talked about motivation, right? And how to get yourself going was an important discussion. And how you can work your way out of that, as I said already, funk. Today I want to take this a step further and talk, and it's not just about leaders and individual contributors, it's life. There's a lot on my mind around leadership this week and on individuals' antics and expectations and everything. But this week, I want to talk about pace. Calling the episode, Set the Pace to Drive Success. And pace, well, first of all, there's an old saying for leaders. And I'll tie this into all individual contributors to people in your home, parents, etc. But this old saying about leadership goes, the pace of the team is determined by the pace of the leader. So if you boil that statement down, the following is this: lead by example. It's not a real tough concept, but how you go, they go is kind of and let go my ego. How you go, they go is what it's really all about. Lead by example. Be motivational, be motivated and excited to attack the day. Now that day, the motivation can be on handling problems or winning deals or getting out and seeing customers, whatever it is. Each day is different, but the pace at which you handle all days is critical. Your pace is being watched by the team. Others are paying attention. If you take a lackadaisical approach to things, allow things to fester, etc., your results will not be what you say, air quotes, you desire. We have to look no further for what good and bad leadership looks like than with what is and is not going on at our institutes of, air quotes here, higher learning. I am one proud American. I think all of you understand that, but I have never been more ashamed of our country than what we're allowing to absolutely happen right now. It is absolutely shameful, the amount of feckless leadership and lack of pace in attacking some of the most serious problems in our country we've ever seen that is going on in our higher education, our premier colleges. I'll tell you this, they're no longer premier. I will tell you as a hiring manager, I will look very closely at looking the other way on anybody that comes with these Ivy League educations. And it's unfortunate because we got 4, 5, 6, 800 just idiots that are going to impact the thousands that come out of there. These places are not healthy. They just aren't. We have university faculty and leadership allowing this group of, most importantly for everybody to understand, uninformed, hate-filled idiots screaming for the death of others on campus. They're allowing it to continue to act this way. Here, pace and affirmation that rules matter is critical. This isn't about the right to peacefully protest. This is about hate speech and terrorism support. These idiots, and I spelled idiots in my notes all caps every time, these people are idiots, are literally screaming support of "We are Hamas." What? Here's some pace for leadership here. This is a bad scene. And these are very, very weak emotional leaders. They're very, very weak. They're screaming support of Hamas. Expel them. Remove the student visas. Ship them home if they're from overseas. Restraining orders, and they can't come back on campus. Do not return their money. Do not pass go and collect $200. Let the police come in and empower the police to come in and get them off the campuses because it isn't peaceful protest. They're yelling for the death of others. Ship them home and then list the names of those and put them on the front page of the newspapers so they won't be hired. Promise you I won't hire them. Instead, what is happening here, the pace they're selecting is to, quote unquote, negotiate with them. Negotiate what? Do we not, as leaders, have any type of point in the game where these are non-negotiables? Screaming that I want to kill all the Jewish people should be a non-negotiable. Remember, in front of Congress, 2 of the 3 of these presidents ended up having to resign because they could not say that screaming for the death of Israel and the death to America was hate speech. That's how stupid these people are. It goes at the pace of the leadership. The leaders are feckless and weak, so they're taken advantage of by the inmates in the asylum. What are you going to negotiate with these people? With who? Literally, this is how bad this is. Literally, Hamas, Iran, and Hezbollah are posting on their social media sites support for these kids. Hamas, Iran, Hezbollah. People that, strap bombs on kids, kill infants, hide in hospitals so others will be killed. Those are the people that are saying that they support us, and these leaderships aren't doing anything about it. On our campuses in the U.S., terrorism is being accepted and somehow normalized. Now, it's an extreme example. I'm not making this a big political thing. This isn't political. This is just right and wrong. These people are wrong. Get them the F out of our country. Here, these leaders need to be fired. Just done. Pace on an issue like this needs to be immediate. It's a few bad eggs ruining the whole damn bunch. And these institutes are never going to rebound. Then you have other examples, and again, not a political statement, just happens to be where they take care of business. Arizona State, you got fraternity guys coming out and singing the national anthem at them, causing the wiring of these friggin' idiots to just go nuts. Wait a second, you like the U.S.? Oh my God, we're the worst place in the world. That's why millions come across our shores every year trying to get here. We're the worst. Florida, if you do anything outside of these lines, you can peacefully protest. That's First Amendment right. But if you say anything like this, you're out, gone forever, gonzo. That's leadership. These bad eggs need to be thrown out. Now, we won't face, as I said a minute ago, probably an extreme issue like this, at least hopefully, in our everyday life or our business life. But we will face challenges when we must show fast-acting and aggressive with conviction decision-making in all sorts of life events. I'm not talking just to leaders in a business environment now. I'm talking to fathers, and I'm talking to mothers. I'm talking to neighbors. I'm talking to community involvement. I'm talking to you as an individual contributor. You got to set your own pace. Your teams are watching. Just like the world is watching these institutions. They're an embarrassment. They're a black mark on our society. And the thing is that our political leaders, some of them aren't saying anything about it either. It's shameful. Maybe some real true outcomes, desired outcomes, are starting to show up on some of these leaders. It's a sad, sad day, folks. So back to your teams. Never ask your teams to do what you aren't willing to do yourself. Here's an idea. Walk your talk. Get in the boat with them. Here's an interesting little tidbit of information. You know that a 41% increase happens in productivity when your teams feel you are in it with them. Engagement goes up 60% when they feel the leader is bought in with them. Leading with conviction, leading with the attitude that we're going in the right direction. Let's go over the hill, right? Think of our military. We ingrain regimented training upon training upon training so that they can respond appropriately, have the appropriate pace under fire. Bombs are going off. Bullets are flying. These men and women have to be able to respond in the hardest of times. Their leaders, the platoon sergeants, those men and women, have drilled it into their head and are in the foxhole with them. That's how you get people to respond. That's how you get great things to happen. That's what you have to hold yourself accountable to as an individual. I don't think you need to treat your kids like you're a drill sergeant. Don't misinterpret the message. What I'm saying here is be convicted in your beliefs and be educated in your beliefs. Don't be convicted about something that's simply wrong. It's simply wrong to say death to Jews. I'm sorry that you're convicted in those thoughts. Now you need to be convicted in our prisons. That is hate speech 101. Now, as an individual in business, you need to do the same things here. Match the highest pace around you. Don't run at the speed of the underplanned crew, but find the perennial performers and match their pace. I can remember conversations when my kids were young. This is not a shot at my kids. But I would say something that something would be going wrong, and they would say, well, I'm doing better than Billy, or I'm doing better than Susie. And I go, Susie, the one that, is doing drugs on the corner and skipping school? That's your baseline? Well, of course you're going to do better than that. That's not even minimum expectations. That's like saying, when I go into Target, I didn't steal anything. Well, that's not really a goal of going into Target. Bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying here. Set your sights, set your aspirations, set your pace on those around you that are successful. Don't set your pace just one notch higher than the lowest performer. Set your pace one notch higher than the best performer. Ask questions. Why do you do that? I want to do like you, but why do we do this? Learn, open your ears, become educated. Push yourself and expand your knowledge. And, with that comes experiences. Don't shut down when challenged. Rev up. Shutting down and not leaning into growth or knowledge is for the meek. It's for the lazy. I find this is hilarious to me. Sad. They used to say, well, that's funny. Not funny, haha, funny, sad. This is funny, sad. Hilarious, sad. When someone confronts, and I'm going back to these idiots because I'm fired up on them. I want them out of this country. I want them out of influencing others. I want the instructors and the professors that have been selling this line of bull out. We have things to correct. We have freckles in our past, but we are still the best out there. And these are just lies with contempt, and all they're trying to do is sink our country. I want them out. So they don't have the knowledge base on this. They're just in this FOMO, fear of missing out, so they show up and they just start screaming this stuff. But I find it hilarious that these idiots on these campuses, if you point out a fact to them, and the idiots scream fascist or pig or Nazi and spit and walk away, Yes, the anti-Semites, these racist, hateful people are calling others Nazis. That's how uninformed they are. See, Nazis were the anti-Semites. How are you calling them, the people that aren't anti-Semite, Nazis? So they're so uninformed, they're setting their pace and their anguish and their anger in areas with the scourge of the earth. So don't set your sights on being the biggest of the idiots. Set your sights on being the best of the best. I didn't think people could be this uninformed and stupid. I didn't think it was possible. But then I remember when people can't answer questions like, what country is the Great Wall of China in? Is that like Canada? I was literally watching interviews on campuses last week, and that was a response. The question was, what country is the Great Wall of China in? The response by this wonderful, wonderful student at Columbia was, Canada? Yeah, that's where I'd go. Yes, really. Our society is dumbing down because we do not push pace and expectations on our young. We do not hold people accountable to, you don't get to just sit around and be a dumbass. Our society is dumbing down by the day. Another question they asked in this little endeavor, and their pace was not to be educated and to learn as much as they could in school, much younger school. The Great Wall of China was studied in like 5th grade, man. I mean, come on. But they asked, name the 2 countries to the north and south of the United States. Africa? Not even a country. And not to the north or south. I'm sorry, folks. Today was a real hard day for me to kind of write about this pay stuff, and everything was just bothering me on the news this morning. I said, I'm going to tie this stuff together, because if you don't embrace education and knowledge and set a pace expectation on yourself to push and expand and experience, you're going to think Africa is a country and it's to the north and south of the United States. See, there's no bottom to stupid. Ron White, great comedian, used to talk about you can fix bad teeth, you can augment your chest as a lady, you can, use Ozempic to lose weight and everything else, but you can't fix stupid. And he was right 20 years ago. These people are the slowest pace out there. They want to be seen as cool or something, I don't know, instead of educated. At home, push your kids' pace. Don't let them sleep in until noon. I understand sleeping in and getting their rest. They're tired. I get it. We're all tired. Guess what? I'm up again at 5:30 tomorrow. My wife's up again at 5:30 tomorrow. Guess what time we got up this morning? 5:30. We laid around a little bit, but your body gets accustomed to it. You will settle into the fast pace. Help your kids be ready for life. Set expectations. Have them do chores. Here's one. Have them embrace the news. I always love these people that say, there was a lot of people during the pandemic doing, I did my own research. Oh, sure, you're doing your own research. You can't do your own research. Well, see, where I come from, that's called reading. That's called investigative. It's okay. Be careful what your sources are. Cross-check your sources. Make sure the biases are pushed out. But do chores. Watch the news. Work with them on life basics. Set a pace and expectations early. Develop those habits by leading yourself and your family this way. Be a trendsetter, not a follower here. When I was raised by older parents, and I'm certainly not saying I got this all figured out. I'm just giving some examples. But we used to get the Des Moines Register every single day. It used to come twice a day. Register in the morning, Tribune in the evening. It's back before, air quotes, smartphones. What they ought to call them is dumb phones, because they've made the holders of them absolutely dumb. But we used to sit there, and my older parents and I'd read the newspaper every day. Yeah, I did. Not just the sports section. I used to go and check out the box scores. I was a big George Brett fan, so I always went to the baseball line. I was a big Bears fan because my dad was a Bears fan growing up. I'd go and check out the lines that going on there. I'd read the news. I'd read the opinion page. I'd read the funnies, all of that before I headed to school. My mom, she would discuss the news with me in the morning before I headed out. Oh my gosh, did you see that article? Yeah, I'm reading it right now. What does that mean? I don't understand this, Mom. Tell it to me. She goes, well, I'm not sure on that one. Ask your father, but this one, this is what it means. Oh my goodness. And then in the evening when my dad got home, I'd ask the questions. They would set the pace on being informed and educated. I can remember being in high school. I was still reading the paper every day. And Coach Bankus, my football coach, was my teacher in a class called Man in Society. In Man in Society, we studied all sorts of cool stuff. Assassinations of presidents, we studied Elvis, and we studied actors and famous people, and we studied the lunar landing, and we studied all sorts of cool stuff that was going on, space programs. We had 4 male teachers. 2 of them were coaches. One of them was an ex-Marine that had stormed the beaches in World War II as well as Korea. This guy was badass, and our football coach. And every week on Tuesdays, he would ask questions on like what's going on in the news, right? And they'd play a game, and you could get points off your homework, or points added to your scores for your homework. And he'd ask, current events is what it was about. He'd call it current event time. He'd ask a question. I'd raise my hand and answer. That's right, Brent. He'd ask another question. I'd raise my hand and I'd answer. Because I had read the news. I was informed. Now, kids looking at me thinking I'm some savant or something. And I'm going, it takes 20 minutes, 30 minutes to read 4 or 5 pages of newsprint. This is getting me points and things off my homework and stuff. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to be the smartest in the room. I was doing it because it was helping me get work off my shelf. So just lean into being educated and learning. Set a pace early on your kids. Discuss things with them. But set that pace on being informed and educated. By walking the talk, like I said earlier, inspect what you are expecting out of the engagement. Today we have kids using these smartphones, and we say, our job's done, they can look it up. No, man. Stupid is as stupid does. Forrest Gump said it. You're being stupid if you aren't putting a higher pace expectation on yourself, your family, and if you're a leader, you're doing yourself a disservice and your company a disservice if you aren't setting a pace of high expectations. High output is what we expect here. High achievement is what we expect here. We covered it with the greatest coaches, Hurley and Saban, 2 weeks ago, right? Old school. It is time to bring some old school pace back into our country and into our lives. Pace is about attaining goals and motivation levels. Those goals and motivation levels are what are required to do great things. It is always in a part of these podcasts, a part of the Dr. L show, where I'm calling out, you got to have the right mindset. Pace is a part of the right mindset. You got to go. You got to practice. You got to drive. You got to be motivated. You got to be inspired. You can't count on others to bring that. If you're the leader, you got to be the one that brings it so they see you walking the talk. You're going to inspire, you're going to motivate, and you're going to achieve if you do this. If you set high expectations on your kids are going to be higher achievers. Culturally, this is what's going on in the country. We try to put it on some sort of blame of the color of your skin or wherever you are. Anybody can dig out of any environment. Anybody can blow it being born into the riches of households. Look at Hunter Biden, right? No further. It's not a political shot. Just born into the golden goose and has been nothing but an absolute shit of a show for 30 years. And then you look at people like Ben Carson, who was born into the projects and became one of the greatest pediatric brain surgeons in the world. So it's not the environment you're placed in, it's the environment you create around yourself. It's around pace and expectations that determine your outcome. Everyone has an opportunity for an equal outcome. We don't promise equal results. If we do that, then why would anybody try? Why would we progress? Why would we get better? Why would things improve if everybody's the same? There's no value in it to you. But if you put value on being the best of something, you get more financial freedom, you get more ability to see more of the world, you get to live in a nicer house, you can get into the tangible items there, aren't the most important thing. But because we have a system that rewards on merit, and it needs to stay that way, pace will bring a better outcome. That's what's determining the better outcome. Self-expectations, drive, motivation, and pace. Great things happen if you up your pace, and that's as a leader, a parent, a saver for your future. My wife and I were talking about retirement again this morning. How much money do we think we need a month to live off of? I'm saying one number, she's saying another number. She's super conservative and wants to control expenses, which is great. Love her. She's not a harsh spender at all. I'm trying to be, I know that things are expensive and it's going to be a little bit more than that probably. Where the right answer is probably dead smack in the middle of the two of us. She tries to pull me back because I'm over. I would want to spend too much money, and I try to pull her more towards reality, and we know, the two of us talking, we're going to get to the reality right in the middle is probably the right spot. Thank God that we both have a pace on savings that I don't think anybody can compare to us. I mean, we are aggressive. They used to say 10% of your savings, right? And again, this isn't a Praise Brent hour here or Dr. L hour. I'm just saying we are aligned on our pace, on financial dedication to our futures. We save 35-40% of our gross. We just do. We've lived under our means forever. We have been in 3 houses we have done together. And every time we go and we start talking about the mortgage, they say, well, you're approved for this number. And it's got another comma and a 2, 3, 4 in front of it. And I'm going, no way. It doesn't matter. That's great. I appreciate that. We would never spend that because we throttle our pace on expense, right? Pace can also not only be full out at something, but also reserved in other areas. A conservative pace can be at the right pace too. Don't go all in on something that hasn't been ferreted out enough. Don't go all in on something that hasn't been proven to be the right direction yet. To be convicted of something, can have conviction in your thoughts and your plans, make sure you're quality checking that thing and pushing back and testing for failure points. Read up. Be educated. Look for help. Be the one that people look up to, not the one they don't want to be like. Be the leader that is inspiring. Be the father that's inspiring. Be the mother that's inspiring. Have high expectations. Don't let people fall down into the lowest common denominator. Be the highest common denominator. Focus on your pace, folks. 9 out of 10 things in life you got to go real hard at. And then there's things in life you got to be more conservative with your pace. Understand which environment you're in. As a leader, be driven. Walk the talk. Show them how to follow. As an individual contributor, you're probably selling with other team members. Set that pace early. Set the pace to your customers. They understand your follow-up is second to none. As a parent, set expectations early. As a spouse, hold each other accountable. Find the groove that you're in. My wife and I have a groove. It's not the most exciting or sexy thing in the world to a lot of people probably, but it's something we're very comfortable with. We set high expectations on each other. But be a leader, not a follower. Be a trendsetter, not a trend follower. Don't have fear of missing out. Have fear of not accomplishing goals. That's what you want. And what ends up coming out of all of that attitude and all of that motivational mindset is awesomeness. Keep that shit up. Talk next week.